Last week's budget was Julia Gillard's first as Prime Minister and Martin Parkinson's first as head of the Treasury Department. And now that's not all they share. The Prime Minister has been deflecting attacks, claiming her first budget wasn't as tough as promised. And today, Dr Parkinson has backed her, saying if it was any tougher, it would have hurt the economy. From Canberra, political correspondent Tom Eagleton reports.
With the effects of the global financial crisis receding, the government's been promising a quick withdrawal from the economy. But some economists say last week's budget was more like a plod. The Treasury Chief's defending the pace of tightening planned in the budget.
Doing significantly, and I emphasise significantly, more to tighten fiscal policy in the short run would inject another risk, that of slowing the economy excessively, and could undermine the prospects for achieving the promised fiscal consolidation.
Fiscal consolidation is code for the return to surplus the Prime Minister's been promising for 2012-13. Dr Parkinson's argument isn't washing with everyone.
Now, that's his point of view, and I don't personally buy it entirely, but it's certainly an intellectually respectable and plausible case that he makes in defence of the decisions that the government made in the budget around just how quickly the budget should return to surplus and by what measures.
And the Treasury head ventured into another vexed area in his speech, the economy's reliance on China. He's joined the global attack on China's artificially low currency, which he says is producing potentially dangerous levels of inflation.
China's approach to monetary policy is a source of global inflationary pressure, but more directly for us raises the risk of action within China to restrain inflationary pressures in ways that impact on our export sectors.
Well, Chinese don't normally take too kindly to being lectured about any aspect of policy by foreign officials. They often regard that as constituting interference in their internal affairs.
But Saul Estlake says Dr Parkinson's got his call on the risk to the economy from a Chinese slowdown right.
Well, it could certainly have a temporary influence on commodity prices and Australian growth, as Dr Parkinson acknowledged.
Today, the Prime Minister moved on from economics and back onto core politics, visiting Tony Windsor's seat of New England, armed with $20 million of new hospital funding.
You know, you're the first Prime Minister to ever visit this.
Oh, really? Oh, that's very special.
He helped her into the lodge, and to stay there beyond the next election, she needs him to hold off the Nationals' attempts to win New England back.
You ruined my dream of being the first redhead Prime Minister.
Tony Windsor's on the government's key climate change committee, which met today, edging closer to deciding what price the carbon tax will impose on a tonne of carbon emissions.
We make up our minds when we've got all the information.
Some of that information's been leaked. A report from Deloitte Consulting saying a price of $40 per tonne would be needed to shift electricity generation from coal to other sources.
Our aim is for a price well south of $40, and we will obviously be aiming for a price that works to drive a clean energy transition.
To bring on a solar thermal plant, you would need a carbon price in excess of $120, and that is not going to happen. That's why I'm saying it is the combination of these measures that is the important thing.
The continued speculation about the carbon price is playing into Tony Abbott's hands.
The point of this tax is that whatever level it starts at, it's going to go up and up and up. And I say to the Australian people, you trust this Prime Minister at your peril.
There's still a few more weeks to go until the carbon price is officially announced. A few more weeks for Tony Abbott to pile into the space in the debate left by the lack of detail from the government. But whether naming the price actually helps the government or simply provides Tony Abbott with more ammunition is debatable. Tom Eagleton, Lateline.